It's a great white stoke coming at you from the great West Coast this morning with another response to Mr. Sneedley. You know, Sned, after 21 minutes of listening to your video and trying to digest it, I see right through your argumentation. Now, I might be more crude in my delivery, but I see what you're doing. And the less sophisticated are going to nod approvingly just because of your accent and implied maybe bona fides and your slow cadence. But in reality, you have nothing to refute my points. And that is, the system has thrown heritage Americans overboard economically, socially, structurally, psychologically, emotionally, dare I say biologically, considering COVID. And we can see that real wages have not kept up with the cost of living. The value of the dollar is being inflated away just by looking at the price of gold and silver. Gold hit a high of $5,600 an ounce. I think silver crested $120. Secondly, you want to dictate, gaslight, put words in my mouth with regards to the who's and how the young people are being oppressed, and you want to couch the word oppression as being some type of Marxist terminology. I think you're more upset that you're the one who's emotionally reactive, and you're trying to, in some form or fashion, bully this opponent of yours in this conversation with just backhanded comments like hypocrite, or what you're saying is retarded, which logically is ad hominem. And that's a poor rebuttal. So let's get down to it. Heritage Americans, especially the kids, are being oppressed. And it's not some Marxist terminology. Marxists use words. Oppression is a word to describe a condition they are perceiving, or at least all of these well-heeled upper crust Marxists who are never going to go into the fields themselves to pick the tomatoes. But heritage Americans are oppressed. Facts. Their government has imposed DEI, critical race theory, and has said, you guys don't produce enough, so we've got to bring in other people to prop up the Ponzi schemes of Social Security and all these other things. But when you start looking at what these immigrants are really producing versus what they're taking, immigrants are a net drain. For every doctor you might get that had to have their scores graded on a curve just to get through it, the 20 other family members are using up social services like mad. Facts. You don't like memes. Boo-hoo. Memes are very powerful. There was a slogan not too long ago, the left can't meme. The left can't meme. And what is a meme? It's just some stated fact put to a picture. Pictures, right? They're worth 1,000 words. And a meme is very powerful. It strikes to the root of many arguments against the Marxist commie left. And I find memes to be rather humorous, especially a good meme. In fact, throughout this video, I'm going to be posting up many memes after another. So I don't know, like, why you're all hung up about memes. That's like saying you're quoting the Constitution, that you're taking things out of context. You kind of come off like some skeezy pastor, right, who glosses over the obvious weird stuff in the Bible, right, and will say, oh, well, that's contextual, right, and then the stuff that you really like, well, that's literal. Going forward, what else did you say? Oh, yeah, you don't want to ever touch the Balfour Declaration because, yeah, the Balfour Declaration, black and white, what your government was doing to help the Who's in Whoville. And look how well that's played out for you guys, right? So many British grooming gangs and being all rapey, right? And you talk about, your invaders. You're fine with the invaders so long as they adopt your culture. Bro, they're not adopting your culture. Right? The number one name right now in the UK is Muhammad. Yeah, bro. They're really adopting the culture. And then you segue, right, without even batting an eye about how the Who's, historically speaking, with regards to my point of the 116 countries. By the way, right, that's your poor argumentation skill, right? You want to gaslight, put words in my mouth, and I hate them. I don't. But you want to gaslight, and then you want to say that, oh, they were occupying the lowest rungs of society. They couldn't do things. They had these low stations, right? And yet the king's going to the Who's for loans. So I want to know if all of these oppressed people who were forced into these lower positions of society and weren't allowed to do stuff, man, how did they have so much cash on hand? And where'd they get that? Is that the leftover cash and gold that they stole from the pharaohs? Maybe the technology as well to part the Red Sea? I mean, just being humorous here, that's kind of like my pet theory. I think that old Pharaoh was bringing some new piece of ass down to the pyramids to show off his wealth. And he got there and realized the vaults were empty. And he's like, fucking Moses, that fucking traitor. And they went after him, and they parted the Red Sea and killed off old Pharaoh and the Egyptians when they went after him. But I see through what you're doing, and your argumentation is weak, bro. I see right through you, and I stand by my observances while I chuckle at memes, which is heritage Americans, heritage Europeans, heritage Northern European countries and people are being tossed aside and replaced for a very bizarre Baphomet Who ritual, because we're the only ones that have the intellect to perceive what they're doing, and they can't stand it. I mean, think about this. Americans went to war to save them from the evil Nazis, and yet we're still giving them all sorts of money, right? If anything, Israel. That's how that we should be calling them, Israel, because they're miserable people. Israel should be giving us money in perpetuity, constantly saying thank you for rescuing us from the camps and the evil Nazis. But what do we get? We get pornography, right? All these young girls in America, right? They're selling themselves on OnlyFans. Who created OnlyFans, right? But again, Sned, you're never going to refute my points because you can't. And that is, what small group, what powerful group will destroy your life if you call them powerful? What small percentage of people are holding the positions of power in the halls of finance, politics, media, industry, yada, yada, yada? Yes. You don't have much of a refutation other than getting up in my feels, right? Be well, everyone. And remember, you're not paranoid if everyone's out to get you.